Vivek Ramaswamy's opinion of what happened and the pick, and I want to give his thoughts. So we're just going to spend 10 minutes here, and make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. Also, Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. And then make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Let's rock.
Former presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy is here. How does this pick change the dynamic of this race, Vivek?
The reality is, to be totally frank, the last few weeks have not been our best, Jesse. This gives us the reset that we needed. This is a gift from on high from the Democratic Party. It is also a lens into how Kamala Harris will govern. Unlike a lot of other people, I don't think Kamala Harris is particularly ideological. I don't think she has far-left ideology. I don't think she has any ideology. But it shows how she's going to buckle to pressure, because this was the first presidential-style decision that she had before her. Do you want a governing agenda of a centrist who I disagree with on a lot of things, but Josh Shapiro, or do you want to buckle to the cave of pressure from the radical left? She made the choice. And so I think this is our best lens to see how she's actually going to govern. The reality is the vice president is far less relevant. He's not going to be the one setting policy. The reason I actually find this decision fascinating is it gives us a lens into the way Kamala Harris makes decisions. And the reality is she buckles to the person who ultimately puts the most pressure on her. That's what we learned today. This was a gift. It resets the race. And I think we are on path back yet, once again, to a victory, because Pennsylvania could back again be in play for Republicans.
Yeah, you're right.
Let me say this. Vivek Ramaswamy is probably the most well-spoken now politician, former businessman, probably still current businessman, former presidential candidate for the United States of America that I've ever seen in my entire life. This guy can articulate himself without any and ums, no gaffes. He just straight up go, and he's probably one of the most intelligent people that I've ever seen run for office. Let me also say that here on, what is this, Jesse Walters? Let me say this. I was supposed to be on here in place of Vivek Ramaswamy. So I was supposed to appear on Fox News on this show, which I don't like to mention it or I don't like to announce it because you never know what's going to happen. But the minute that I already knew yesterday when Kamala Harris had made her VP pick when we was live during the show. And listen, it's a hierarchy. He's much more relevant. He has, much more clout, and he's probably a lot more knowledgeable when it comes to these type of situations. So they said, oh, wait, Anton, we're going to get you back on next week. But Kamala Harris picked her pick, and we got somebody else that we need to bring on and place you. I said, okay, listen, let me take my L. It's still on my calendar. They had scheduled for me to appear during this time slot last week. Just a little bit of a yes, they had scheduled. But the minute that the news came out, I already knew it. Next thing you know, my phone is blowing up. My people like, oh man, they said that they're gonna pivot today, but they're gonna bring you back on the next. Hey, listen, I don't take it personal. I do not take it personal. If y'all are about to bring Vivek Ramaswamy on there, I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, man, heck no. Listen, it is what it is. It's a business decision. I don't take it personal like people that take it personal that I decide that I want to remove from my platforms. And so I can't take it personal when they do it also. I'm just appreciative of the opportunity and the connection and the fact that they're going to be bringing me on there and that they brought me on there. Even if they had never bring me on there again, I'm just appreciative of the opportunities that came along with it and all of the visibility that came from it. But without that being said, just a little bit of nugget for y'all. Let me hold my L. I take L's too. Let me hold my L. Let me say this. He is absolutely right. This man is incredibly radical. Got you, Quentin. This man is incredibly radical. From what I've learned and my research into him is that Minnesota has become an incredibly liberal state, but it's still a swing state. And so when they voted him in 2018 and then again in 2022, some of the things that he stood for, the people in Minnesota did not necessarily rock with, including putting tampons allegedly in the boys' bathroom. And then on top of that, leveraging the fact that he was a football coach in order to justify the move. On top of that, gender affirmation, we don't rock with that over here on the conservative view. But I think that Vivek is incredibly insightful, and he's going to bring some more insight as to why this is a bad pick and why this actually probably works in the favor of the Republicans.
Shapiro definitely was going to help with Pennsylvania. He doesn't help anywhere. They say he helps with the Midwestern white man. Are they going to buy this guy that wants to give boys tampons in 4th grade?
The reality is this is a guy they're pitching in completely the wrong way as some type of Midwestern unifier. First of all, you can't be the unifier while also leading the charge on calling 70+ million Americans weird in his term. And the reality is we have a much stronger case in return if we want to play that game. Boys versus girls, can't define the difference. Boys competing with girls in women's sports competitions, even taking away your gas stoves. He's actually been one of the greatest climate alarmist governors in the United States on the left or the right. So if we wanted to level that charge in return, we have a stronger case. But the reality is he can't be a unifier, but also somebody who's alienating 70+ million Americans as just plain weird, as he calls it. The other thing is it's just one Potemkin village of identity politics, Jesse. The Democrats, it's almost as they don't look at the actual content of the candidates they put up. They realized it had to be a black woman in the vice presidency, now the presidency. That's exactly the reason Kamala got her job. But having checked that box, now they need to revert the other direction,
right,
which is a Midwestern, folksy white guy of a regular type. And the reality is when they stop giving positions out on the basis of merit and start using these group quotas in either direction, they end up with the worst of all worlds, and that's what this ticket represents.
One of the things that people keep mentioning that I absolutely remember, and I didn't remember him in particular because I didn't know who he was from the governor's perspective, but I do remember in Minnesota burning, they said that he let Minnesota burn in order to continue to justify all of the actions during the Black Lives Matters and during the protests. That he's an advocate for defunding the police. And so all this is literally is identity politics. They brought up a white man. This is a play directly from Barack Obama's book. Somebody in the chat asked me during the last segment, they said, if this is about identity politics, why didn't they just bring up another black person? Because they already got the black vote, A, from Democrats, from being a Democrat in general, and then B, ultimately from the identity politics and women. She checks the boxes when it comes to color, woman, Democrat. They got that already. They don't need to reaffirm that. The people that's going to vote on that is going to vote on that. Now they need the same thing that Barack Obama did in 2008 and then ultimately in 2012. Get the older white man that is liberal as hell, that is willing to have Billy Porter dancing on a White House lawn, that supports gender affirmation, that let y'all cities burn when he shouldn't have let the cities burn in the first place, that ultimately hurt you and your own communities. In the same way that Barack Obama chose Joe Biden is the same way that Kamala Harris chose Tim Walz. It's the same play. They running the same play over and over again. They running the same play over and over again. They're not doing nothing different. This is not new. They're not absolutely just learning it out and running it out or whatever. It's the same play, bro. It's literally the same play. And y'all falling for the okie doke once again and acting like y'all don't understand. It's the same play, bro. Real talk. And I'm amazed that it's so easy for y'all to just fall for this and y'all not paying attention and realizing that they doing the same thing that they did in 2008. Okay, well, listen, she don't poll well as far as policies. She don't really have any real experience as far as, fixing the economy or anything like that. Yeah, she voted on some bills when she was a senator. Yeah, she locked up some black people. Cool, we with it. Yeah, she was over there in the liberal San Francisco and not doing things and withholding evidence. But when you start to question her record as the borders are and try to justify why she did some of the things that she's doing, we need a new face. We need some older white man that is married, that still espouse the same liberal policies, but at the same time, we can use his background in order to justify why he actually is working in your best interest, and he polls well with a different demographic. Let's get the Joe Biden for Barack Obama play. Let's pull that playbook out, and let's do the same thing for Kamala Harris and see if we can check some more boxes. It's the same thing, bro. It's the same play.
The Minneapolis riots, that's going to be front and center in this campaign. It's going to be about the economy. But remember in that summer what happened. He let that city burn. He let it burn.
He did.
And then blamed America for the fact that it burned. Why would she pick someone like that on the ticket? Why?
Well, the fact of the matter is she wasn't making a sound decision, but there's three issues that matter in this election, Jesse. Immigration, economy, crime.
Facts.
On economy, he
Hold
raised
on, let's stop there. It's three things that matter in this election: immigration, economy, and crime. Immigration, economy, and crime. We know on all three that they are failing miserably. Not only are they failing in every single liberal city across the United States of America. They're failing in every single liberal city in the United States of America. It's three basic things. You ain't got to be a expert on policy and understand all of the different governments and branches and all. You don't have to know none of that. Let's just stay right here with the facts. Economy, crime. Economy, crime. Economy, crime. Because I know a lot of y'all are not experts on immigration, but on a basic, we already know that they let all of these people into y'all cities. Like, that goes without saying. That's not even something that's new. Economy and crime. The defund your police advocates, and whether or not you actually make money, feed your family, and can survive and ultimately not depend on the federal government to forgive your student loans in the future.
Taxes shows you what he thinks about economic growth. On immigration, he wants to build a ladder over the border wall and give free health care and taxpayer-funded subsidies to migrants. And on crime, that's really where the George Floyd riots come in. This is not turning America into St. Paul or Minneapolis.
I've seen this all throughout the cities. It was all white people that was out there covering up their faces, knowing that your cities was going to burn and they was going to go back out to the suburbs in order to live their quiet lives when it was all over with. But they wanted to feel included and take pictures by the different cars that they was burning up, and also say that they was a part of something in their future to their grandkids.
That's what they want to do. We say no. We have a clear choice to do it in the ballot box in November, and I think this is now our race to lose. Let's step up, focus on our agenda, and if we do, we win this thing once again.
I think that Vivek is absolutely correct. Vivek is absolutely correct. And I think that more Americans need to pay attention to the things that actually affect them, not the things that they feel about the different candidates. Let me read it.